What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I've decided that I'm going to start a new series. This is going to be a Diablo franchise Iceberg series. Now this will be similar to other Icebergs that are out there on the internet, except I'm not only going to be doing Diablo 2, I'm also going to be doing all the other Diablos in the franchise and a little more as well. So things will be at least a little bit different for this Iceberg, so please stick around to check it out. Now before I get into the video, I do want to say, please, for the love of God, will somebody sub to the channel? I'm trying to hit 1K. Been doing this for like 5 years, and a normal person would give up, but I'm not a normal person. So anyways, I hate it when people do that, and I feel scummy for even begging you to subscribe. So I'm gonna shut up now. I'm gonna edit this and pretend like it never happened, but take a cold shower. Let's get in to the Diablo franchise Iceberg. Alright, so we are jumping right into our first entry, which is the Stone of Jordan. Now, the Stone of Jordan is a unique ring in Diablo 2, mostly used by caster-type characters due to its boost to mana and also boost in skills. Now, it's also used in the endgame of Diablo 2 to spawn the Uber Diablo boss, and is the main method of acquiring the Annihilus charm. Now, until the introduction of the 1.09 patch of Diablo 2, it was commonly used as a form of currency. Players could use this item to trade for high-end items, as they were rare enough to actually be of value, and yet small enough for us to hold on to a whole bunch of them. Unfortunately, though, they were also very, very easy to duplicate, making them virtually worthless by the time people started to figure out how they could just duplicate this item over and over and over again. Now, once Blizzard was made aware of this duplication method, they patched it out of the game. And a lot of times what would happen is someone would have one of these, maybe they traded something for it, they didn't know that it was a duped item, and a lot of these items would just vanish. So it would piss a lot of people off because they wouldn't know they had a duplicated item. One day they would log in to think that they have, oh man, I am good, I got a Stone of Jordan, maybe I can go, hunt down some Ubers or something, and it's just gone. And this would go on for quite a while because they actually started doing random sweeps of the servers just to check for duplicated SOJs. But with gamers being gamers, they did just quickly devise a new method to duplicate the Stone of Jordans. But by the time they did, high runes had become the new currency. And also, as another way to incentivize people to just get rid of their SOJs, that was one of the major reasons why they actually decided to go in and add Uber Diablo, because it was going to be a way to actually convince people to get rid of their duped items so that they can go and get an Annihilus charm. Also, this is a ring that I personally don't know if it even exists in the game, because even though I've been playing this game for what has to be over 20 years now, I've never found a Stone of Jordan. People have shown me pictures, but I mean, I can Photoshop a picture too and say, hey, look, I have a Stone of Jordan. I'm just saying. Anyways, I bring that up because that leads us to our second topic, the SOJ conspiracy. Now, this conspiracy was actually talked about a lot on like message boards back in the day, around the early 2003s, 4, something like that. I don't remember the exact date, but I remember it was the early 2000s. Now, this theory claims that SOJs are actually a myth. Yeah, and that they were created by early Diablo 2 modders. And the theory proposes that a small group of modders actually hacked the primitive BattleNet servers. Because back then, for the original Diablo itself, I think they had one computer running the servers. And in Diablo 2, it wasn't really that much more than that. Obviously, it wasn't just one computer, but it was maybe a room full of servers somewhere. And I mean, you gotta remember, man, this is back in the early days of the internet. Things weren't as complicated as they happen to be today. But back to the theory. The theory goes that these modders actually found a way to get into the servers and actually upload these items into the game. Once they did this, they actually started trading them amongst each other and doing legitimate trades on trade websites to make it look like this was an item and to make it seem like this was a very valuable item. So what did it do? It upped the price of the SOJs. And soon after this, they would come to literally corner the market because all they had to do was simply give themselves more SOJs. And once they did that, they would trade the SOJs that they have somehow smuggled into the game and use those SOJ legitimate rings to go out and get good high-end gear and start to climb the leaderboards. Now, the theory goes, Blizzard was afraid to actually confirm that their servers had been hacked like that. And instead of actually going public with this and outing the modders, or hackers I guess you could call them at this point, they decided that they would actually try to reach out to them and appease them. Yes, I know. Freaking nuts, right? But I guess it really isn't too far out of the realm of possibility when you think about it, because I mean, I guess they could have easily gotten these guys arrested, and if they were able to track them down and make some kind of deal with them, then I guess it makes sense that maybe they would rather just make the deal. But what was the deal? Well, the deal was that they would take these rings that these people put in the game, the SOJs, and they would create a new quest to kill Uber Diablo. And in exchange for this, the modders would simply cease to attack the game and stop uploading their own crap into the game, thus destroying their own gaming market. Now, why would the modders do this? Because now they could spawn infinite SOJs and just constantly go over to Uber Diablo and start to farm the Annihilus charms. And with that, the issue is settled. Now, the same people who actually talk about this theory also claim that there is actually no video evidence of there even being SOJs in the game existing before patch 1.06. I don't know if this is true. I didn't go and look. This whole thing sounds like bullshit to me, but who knows? Maybe it's real, maybe it's not. But I mean, it's an Iceberg video anyways, so who really cares? Level 99. Level 99, it just simply refers to the grind to actually acquire the coveted max level of 99 in Diablo 2. Now, this actually requires players to reach a staggering 3,520,485,254 experience points to actually hit that level. This on single player difficulty is going to take you anywhere from 120 to 200 hours easily. And that's if you don't die. If you die a bunch of times, you're going to lose experience, and it's going to take you way, way longer. Although now, this is a little bit easier because we now have Terror Zones. And the Terror Zones make this way more manageable. Now, just for context, let me give you another statistic really quick. In an average RPG, it will take you about 40 to 60 hours to reach max level. We're not talking about Skyrim. Alright? No one say that. We're not talking about Skyrim. We're talking about other just regular ass RPGs that you would play, like Dragon Quest and stuff like that. Right? Because you have to factor those in too when you're talking about the average RPG. But Diablo 2 on average takes you 3 times the amount as a normal RPG would take you to actually hit level 99. People see reaching level 99 as actually a huge accomplishment and is seen as prestigious amongst the Diablo community. Now, level 99 though is not just a useless cap. It's not just a random number. Hitting level 99 actually makes the game quite a bit easier for you. Because one thing a lot of people don't really tend to take into consideration is that a lot of times damage taken and damage dealt has a lot to do with not just how much damage you have, but also the monster level. If you are just a level 20 character and you go into a level 2 area, then when your level 20 character hits that level 2 monster, you're gonna destroy him. I'm just trying to give you guys an example of what I'm talking about. So reaching 99 is definitely something that you probably would want to do if you are going to be going out there and farming a lot. Now, if you're not going to be doing a lot of farming, obviously, I would not recommend the grind to 99 because it takes forever. But there is ways to actually speed this up. I'm sure most of you already know this, but you can actually go into the game itself. You type in / and then you put a player 7 there, and you actually up the difficulty. Now, the reason you can do this is because Blizzard wanted to incentivize people to actually play with each other online. So what they did was, if you had a party of 2 or greater, you would actually start to receive bonuses to your XP. People figured this out, so they would either squad up and make sure that they had a whole bunch of friends in there so that they could get as much XP as possible, or they can do what other people did when this was eventually found out that you could do this in the game, is just go on the single player and just type in however many players you want to be in the game. And one cool little fact about this is that this is actually a perfect example of how real life game meta actually ended up dictating changes in the actual game itself in the future. Because now on modern consoles, they have actually put this into the options on like Xbox, Switch, Nintendo, any console, right? To where you can actually change the players count as a difficulty slider, which I don't think would have ever happened if it wasn't for the meta of people trying to reach level 99. Up next we have Lorath was in Diablo 3. Some players of Diablo 4 might have been a little bit disappointed because although we definitely see some familiar faces when it comes to the demons, a lot of people thought we didn't really see that many familiar faces when it came to the side of good in Diablo 4. But this is actually not true, because we do get to at least see one character return from Diablo 3. And this character is Lorath Nahr. And although we do not spend much time with him in Diablo 3, and a lot of people that didn't like Diablo 3 probably never played the expansion, or maybe they played it for 20 minutes and put it down, has to be the most likely reason why it seems like so many people don't realize that Lorath is actually part of the canon story. But where was he? Well, I'm showing you guys video footage of this right now, or at least future Brandon will, so hopefully he didn't screw up and you can see it on the screen right now. But Lorath was actually present when the Haradrim attempted to seal the Black Soulstone alongside Tyrael in the Tomb of Raxus. Now, Lorath was the one surviving Haradrim that Tyrael told to flee and seek the Nephilim. So that random young Haradrim that you guys see on the screen is Lorath Nahr. Now, he will stay with us all through Act 5 up until the part where we discover the location of Malthael. I think it was Lorath Nahr who made that discovery as well, and I believe it was through Adria's journals. But the Nephilim would then travel to Pandemonium with Tyrael to face Malthael, while Lorath would remain in Westmarch to witness the events leading up to Diablo 4. Now, the fate of Tyrael is not yet known, but I do believe that he is actually alive. And in fact, I also think that what's really going on there is the reason we don't see Lorath in the expansion to Diablo 4 is because he is literally off going and trying to find Tyrael. And I do believe we are going to see Tyrael again, and that Lorath Nahr will be the person that finally brings him over to us so that we can finally meet with the legendary ex-angel himself, Tyrael. Shako. Shako refers to a highly sought-after unique item in Diablo 2 known as Harley Quinn Crest. This item is often thought of as being the best helm in Diablo 2 and, well, in my opinion, Diablo 4 as well. This item is also fairly easy to acquire through trading, due to none of the base modifiers being randomized aside from base defense. Not just that, but this item actually does give you a decent boost to magic find that you can make even better by simply socketing in an Ist rune or a perfect topaz to give yourself even more magic find on top of your +2 to skills. I wish I had more to say on that one, but let's be real, we all know what a Shako is. Diablo 3 Caldeum in Diablo 4. Now, with Diablo 4 being an open world game, a lot of gamers couldn't help but wonder if that meant that we would actually be able to find remnants of areas that we have already visited in previous Diablo games. Now, at first it seemed that that dream of finding these locations was not going to come to fruition, but this was at least until the player actually finished the campaign. Because upon finishing the campaign, we can head back towards Caldeum, which was the city in Diablo 3 that we actually got to play through. And if you were to go down this path that had just magically opened up, you would actually find that you were actually in the ruins of the Act 2 outpost of Diablo 3. Now, although it was really cool to actually be able to find this place, at the same time it was actually kind of depressing, because upon finding this location, it's actually revealed to us that this town is just ruins now. So a once thriving outpost was just left to the harsh embrace of the environment. The place has been overran with wasps, those wasp creatures that we all hate that so famously made their debut in Diablo 3. They have now taken over the outpost. And it's rather somber to find this, but at the same time, it kind of fits because a lot of Diablo stories usually end with a pretty sad ending, because that's just how things go in the world of Sanctuary. So here's to hoping that at least some of the townsfolk were able to escape from that place before anything bad happened to them. But judging by all the scattered remains that we can find strewn about this area, it looks a little unlikely. Mods of Diablo 2. Now, with Diablo 2 being over a 20-year-old game, it's safe to say that it can get rather boring at times. Well, I don't think so, but I do understand if there are any others who would say this. But fortunately, Diablo 2 has such a dedicated fan base. They have gone and taken it upon themselves to actually go out and create some of the most amazing mods I have seen for any video game, period. Some of my personal favorites actually include Project Diablo 2, a mod that aims to create a version of Diablo 2 as if the developers never stopped working on Diablo 2. And they are continuing to work on it even up to this current day. A lot of people play it, a lot of people say it's the best mod of all time, but I personally like the next one a little bit more, and that would be Median XL. Now, this mod not only adds many more crafting options into the game, but also adds new enemies, new uniques, new runes, new bosses, entirely reworked charm system that are awarded upon completing certain rifts and bosses, and entirely reworked endgame events to boot. Now, Median XL is by far my favorite option when it comes to playing mods for Diablo 2. And one thing I actually really enjoy about it is if you actually go to their website, you can read little lore snippets of all the characters, and if you go through and you read those, you can actually see that Median XL is like almost like a parallel world to the original Diablo 2. And not only that, but they've incorporated a lot of things that happened in the novels, which I think is just effing amazing. But moving on from there, if you do not like the old school graphics, then there are also really good mods for Diablo 2 Resurrected. Number one, off the top of my head, I have to say would be Diablo 2 Reimagined, which adds over 1,000 new uniques, new set items, balance changes, and even new gameplay mechanics with the Orbs of Corruption. A mechanic that gives you a chance to add an additional affix to an item as long as you are willing to risk bricking your item for additional power. Now, I'm sure most of you know if you're watching this video, that is actually what my channel is primarily about. I do a lot of videos on Diablo 2 Reimagined, and if you are new here and you are interested in Diablo 2 Reimagined, please feel free to go ahead and check that out. Lastly, there is a mod that I actually wanted to give a shout out here, and that would be Diablo 2 Remodded. Now, Diablo 2 Remodded is a lot like Reimagined, but there are some things that are different. The crafting recipes are a little bit different. There are more items that you can get. It kind of reminds me of Median XL in that way, because there are a lot of things that drop that you can use to actually go and craft. Now, there are things that drop in Reimagined that you can use to go and craft, but Remodded simply has more. Not to mention, it's way harder than Reimagined and way harder than even original Diablo 2. Man, the first time I beat the Den of Evil in Diablo 2 Remodded, I was actually happy to beat the Den of Evil because I died like 3 times. It's embarrassing to say that, but it's the truth. I died like 3 or 4 times, and it completely changed the way that I looked at playing Diablo 2. The many novels of Diablo. Yes, there are actually many novels for Diablo that help to flesh out the lore even more. The Sin War novel being one of my favorites, because I know that to people who have never read any of them, the inclusion of Lilith and Andariel in Diablo 4 might have seemed kind of strange. You probably weren't really sure who the hell that was, because she isn't talked about much, if at all, just in the video games. And most of them probably felt like, well, this character came from out of nowhere. But if you were to go back and dive into the novels and into the lore, you would actually see that bringing back Lilith in particular was a very natural continuation of the story of Sanctuary. When I was playing Diablo 4 for the first time, it always felt to me like there was writers of Diablo 4 just kind of chilling in a room somewhere, and they were hanging out one weekend or something, and one said to the other, bro, I have no idea how to write a Diablo story. Like, what are we gonna do? And then someone was like, hey, I saw that there is a Diablo book on Audible. Maybe we can listen to those and get some ideas. So they all started listening to the novels on Audible, and then they were like, holy crap, dude, let's bring back Lilith. I feel like I can pretty much see the light bulb going off in somebody's head while they're listening to that book, being like, oh man, okay, yeah, let's do this, bro, because I got no other idea. I have no clue how to do this. Maybe we can like use some of these ideas from the novels and just like update them for modern times. I can also see these guys giving a copy of the script to their boss, and the guy being like, wow, this is great. How did you come up with this? And then them guys just being like, we really like the lore. But if you want to read any of those for yourself, they are actually easy to find, and a lot of them are on Audible, like I was just talking about. And some of the ones that I personally would recommend would have to be The Sin War, which is a trilogy of books and a must-read for any Diablo lore junkie out there, in my opinion. And also, I would have to recommend Kingdom of Shadow, probably Legacy of Blood, and Scales of the Serpent. Those are all pretty good as well. And another thing that's really cool about these is a lot of those characters from the novels are actually used as some of those bosses I was talking about in Median XL. So it makes Median XL even better if you've actually read the novels, which is probably part of the reason why Median XL is actually my favorite one of these overhaul mods for Diablo, because I have read the novels and I actually rather enjoyed them. So when I was actually playing through Median XL for the first time and I started finding, like, you know, the Legacy of Blood dungeon and Cabraxis and things like that, I was like, holy crap, man, these are all from the novels. This is so cool. I can't believe I'm actually playing through a novel right now. But now at the same time also, if you have read the novels and never played Median, then I would definitely say, dude, go play Median. Go play Median now. Like, click off the video, get out of here. Go play Median. And for those who are interested, there are actually comic books for Diablo and a whole plethora of alternative media sources that you could actually go out and enjoy if you don't only want to play the video games. Red shirt guy.
Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones, right?
Hey, just was wondering, is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke?
This is one I'm actually happy to talk about because this one pretty funny and makes me smile and laugh every time I think about it, to be real. So this one actually refers to a YouTuber by the name of Daunting Choir. Now, this is not to be confused with the 2010 BlizzCon red shirt guy, Ian Bates, who asked a viral question about World of Warcraft Dwarven leadership. Yes, BlizzCon has actually somehow created 2 red shirt guys. And the guy that we call red shirt guy in the Diablo fan base is actually red shirt guy 2. Don't believe me? Check this out, man. Check this out.
Hello. I just finished reading The Shattering yesterday.
Good man.
And I noticed something. It said that Falstad Wildhammer was going to be on the Council of Three Hammers, but in the beta it's Kurdran Wildhammer, and Falstad is not in the game at all. What happened to him?
Isn't Falstad dead? From Day of the Dragon? No?
No, he survived, and in fact, he was the leader of Airy Peak in Vanilla WoW through Wrath of the Lich King.
Right, of course.
Right.
Yeah, Alex, what's up with that?
Thanks for pointing that out. We're gonna get that fixed.
Thank you.
Bet.
Now, I don't know how many people actually have the full context for why Red Shirt Guy was so important to the Diablo mythos, I guess you would call it. So to actually explain this, I'm gonna have to take you back in time just a little bit. Now, before the 2018 BlizzCon, there was rumors going around that Diablo 4 was going to be announced, or that the next big Diablo game was going to be announced. Now, a lot of fans were really excited because we had been sitting there and waiting for a game that would hopefully be a spiritual successor to Diablo 2, because unfortunately, Diablo 3, like a wise man once said, this ain't it, chief. So as the time had actually started to wind down on the event, and nothing had actually been announced yet, people were starting to grow anxious and worry that, okay, maybe we're not actually getting a Diablo 4 this year, maybe next year, right? Cue up Wyatt Chang, who takes the stage to tell us that we are getting a new Diablo game, but it's actually going to be a mobile Diablo game. Now, why you would make this announcement to a crowd of what has to be only the most hardcore of hardcore PC Master Race Blizzard Diablo / Warcraft / Starcraft fans is beyond me. I have no clue. I can't even fathom how anybody at Blizzard thought that this was going to be a good idea, because a good idea it was not. And the reception for this game, for Diablo Immortal, was so bad that there's actually rumors, or at least there was at the time, that they actually postponed the launch of Diablo Immortal for literally over 4 years. I remember when this happened too. I remember, like, I wasn't happy about Diablo Immortal either, but I was willing to give it a try. I wasn't as mad as most of the Diablo fan base. I just wanted something new that was Diablo, and at that point, pretty much anything was going to suffice as long as it had the name Diablo on it. That's how I felt, man. That's how I felt. So I was willing to give it a shot. So I actually registered early for it, and then nothing happened for 4 years. And I was just like, bro, like, did this game get canceled? I think a lot of us probably thought the game got canceled at that point. But no, I honestly believe the reason they didn't release it is because they were waiting to announce Diablo 4 to make us hardcore gamers happy, and then to have some of the heat taken off of them for even announcing Diablo Immortal in the first place, which is why they decided to wait as long as they did to actually release Diablo Immortal. And then when it came out, it was exactly what Red Shirt Guy thought it was gonna be. A money grab that had no heart and no soul. What a crazy time to be a gamer, man. The Andariel quest bug. Now, the Andariel quest bug is a well-known bug in Diablo 2, in which finishing this quest for the first time will grant you an increased chance for her to drop unique items, and she wouldn't drop junk items like keys or arrows or potions of gold. What you could do is you beat her, and then you actually talk to the NPCs and you go to Act 2, and then you just leave the game, come back, and she would be quest bugged forever. The reason I wanted to talk about this one in particular is because this quest bug is not recommended anymore. If you're playing Diablo 2 Resurrected, there's Terror Zones now. And with those Terror Zones, you also get a higher treasure class. So if you play Hell for the first time on a character, and you quest bug Andariel, then you can no longer get any of the Terror Zone high treasure class items. You will only get the quest bug loot table that you will be able to draw from, but not any of the Terror Zone items, which really sucks. So if you don't want to screw yourself over and actually make it so that you can't benefit from the Terror Zone, then do not quest bug Andariel. Now, they did try to fix this recently, I believe it was about a year or two ago. It might have been a year and a half or so. And what was funny about it, though, is they claimed that they tried to fix it, but then when people went back and looked into the code, they just didn't do anything to it. So either they were lying about fixing it, or the easiest way for them to fix it was to just not fix it and hope that people would continue playing their game anyways and just not know the difference. Surprise, surprise. Is anybody really surprised that Blizzard would actually try something like that? Not me. Not at all. But that is going to bring us to the end of the surface for this Iceberg video. I hope you enjoyed. Also, like I said earlier, please, for the love of God, sub to my channel. I'm begging you. Starving to death. No, not really. I'm fine. But yeah, everybody have a great night. I will see you guys on the next video. And probably be a Diablo 2 reimagined video coming out next. So look forward to that. Take it easy and play. Some of my personal favorites include Project Diablo 2, and that is a mod that aims to actually create a version of Diablo 2. Some of my personal favorites include Project Diablo 2, which is a mod that actually fuck my life, man.